Sophia Soda with the Nerds of Color.
Hey.
First off, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. I am such a big fan of you and your work. It's a real honor.
Oh my God, thanks. That's really nice. Yeah, of course.
Of course. And so I really loved you in this role. You did just such a fantastic job, and I loved seeing you get in that character. I'm curious, of course, what intrigued you the most about Richie as a character? Were there aspects you were most excited to kind of experiment with?
Yeah, so many things. I mean, well, so it was interesting when I first read it, like, I was like, is this, I was kind of like, oh, he's like sort of like the bad guy. And then I was like, well, they're all kind of bad. And it's funny, he's actually, really human. He's actually sort of like who isn't cut out for it. And he overcompensates with all of this, like, it's very like bombastic, like he's loud, he's got a mouth on him, he definitely uses his status like around town, and he knows that people can't really touch him, and he's kind of obnoxious like that, but it's just all fear underneath. I think he's like really charming. I think he's like, I think he's a good time, but I don't think he's not a gangster. He's not like a killer. So it was interesting. I kind of had like a turn. I think when I had then just known that I was going to be doing the job, and I was sitting with the character for a while. It was like a while before we like shot the movie, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. He's actually just like he's sort of like still just like a little boy like underneath, which I thought was a cool way to see it, because the audience kind of goes on that journey with him too. At first they're introduced to this sort of like obnoxious kind of like guy who's like, seemingly in charge, but there's something more there, and then you see that's you see who's in charge.
Yeah, and also the story takes place in 1950 Chicago, which was just I loved it. I loved how the
Me too. Yeah, so cool.
Amazing. What was it like getting to do like a period piece like that? Did you feel like you got sucked in? Because I felt like I was sucked in for those like 2 hours.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, I mean, just like the coolest. I didn't want to leave the set. There's just so much. There's so much to play with and like to lean into that I didn't want to be afraid of too. Like I feel like I feel like I can lean very like, subtle or like shy as an actor, I guess, kind of. And this was such a part that was like, I'm he's a very flashy guy, so like there was kind of room to like play with all that, with the smoking and the accent too. Like I think he would kind of like sink into it, flaunt it a bit, like, it's so much texture in that world to play with. So it's all just kind of like there, and you can kind of just go in and like use whatever of it that you want, and so it was really, really fun. And that was like, it was so great to, I haven't gotten to do a lot and that's such a cool period. And the outfit too, like gangster, like you just think of like Tommy guns, smoking, drinking, like it's sick, the hats, the suits. Yeah,
I love that. Putting on the costume for the first time must have been so much fun.
Crazy.
Amazing.
Crazy. I know. I didn't deserve to have it on me.
Oh my gosh.
I just know everyone around me, they were all such like fashionistas, like, like Zoe and Johnny and Mark, like they really like know fashion and like appreciate it. And like they were talking about when we were at Huntsman, and they were talking about the fabrics, and I was just like, I'm just like listening and like trying to learn, yeah, it's really cool though.
Did you get to take anything from set? Because I feel like I'd want to take that outfit, honestly.
I think I tried to take, I was thinking about this actually, like, yeah, I can't remember. I don't think I got the suit, or they had to hold it maybe I can't remember. I do think I took like an ashtray with like the little bird on it. I don't know if you can see it in the movie, but I took one thing from the set. I asked the production designer if I could take the ashtray, so I took that.
Gotta have a memory from it, definitely.
Yeah, I always try to take something, and sometimes you can't, or yeah.
And you really can't look away from this movie. You're just waiting for the next move, and it's great. Was it like that reading the script as well?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, it was such an awesome read. It was so fun, you know. I was like blown away by the script when I first read it. It was like really dialed in. Um, you know, the dialogue, like the pacing, even just in the way that like Graham and his partner Jonathan, like, you know, even in the way that they sort of describe in their action lines, you know,
Yeah.
the tension, building in the tension and like between all the characters, and like it's just like so laid out and so clear that it's just like it was just such a fun read. Like I fully, it's what you fully go on the journey, like as the audience member, like reading it for the first time, you know.
Definitely.
And performing it too, you know. We shot it in order, which is like crazy and you never do, but obviously we could because of the one location thing. So yeah, it just felt like a play, you know.
Yeah. And the dynamics were so fun, especially for Richie. I was curious, what was it like creating the two between Richie and Mabel, and then Richie and Leonard? Because those are my favorites.
The two different dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because um it's interesting. You really only see him like with with Mabel and Leonard and like Francis. It's like those kind of like three relationships, right? And like I think it's kind of funny how he's, you know, he's so dominating, he, you know, in a way. And with Leonard, like it's almost like he's like the quiet kid in math class that he like kind of likes making try to talk, kind of picks on, you know, like and with Mabel, he's like, you know, he's like obnoxious and but he almost a little like vulnerable with her, you see, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then with Francis, he's just completely insecure and threatened by it, you know. So it is an interesting, yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's one of the cool things about the piece and the character. I mean, like all of these things are so laid out for you, you know, like there's so much color, you know, in these relationships and in the arc of the story. And then like sort of like, you know, seeing how the characters kind of, he's sort of the only one who is you know, he's the weakest at the end of the day, in a way. Like he's the weakest chess player, and everyone kind of uses, you know, dynamics that they observe and sort of like prey on and kind of manipulate to happen in front of them, and he's kind of, you know, the one getting pulled around in the first, you know, chess piece to fall, I guess, you know, in a way. But yeah, I don't remember if I actually answered the question.
No, you did. You did. You were perfect. And you have such a dedicated fan base. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. And you've had a lot of amazing projects recently. What is it like getting to see their reactions to each of your new projects? Because it's great.
I know, it's such a trip. It is really cool. I can't. It always blows me away. Like, it's so cool. I don't know. It's sort of, it's like having like a, you know, it's like my mom. Like my mom will never like watch something that I ever do. It's like she's like so supportive, you know. So it's just, I don't know. It's like an extension of support that I see and feel and like appreciate from like, you know, from these strangers, these people that I don't really know, you know. So I don't know. It's really cool. It never ceases to amaze me. It's not something I don't think I'll ever be used to,
Yeah.
but like it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know. I'm like so grateful for it, and I don't understand how it happened. You know.
And like I said, I'm a fan of yours. So I've seen the wide range of characters you've done. You've delivered some of my favorite performances, honestly.
Thanks.
I love it.
So cool of you to say.
Oh my gosh, no, genuinely. So I'm curious, which role in your career has taught you the most acting wise or stuck with you going forward?
Oh my God. I mean, you know, all of them. Everything in such a different way, you know. I mean, I guess like I always go, my building blocks, I always go to like, you know, Teen Wolf and Maze Runner, obviously, because that was when I was, you know, fully like straight up like learning how to act like on the fly, you know. Like I didn't like grow up acting, like I never did like a play in high school or like, you know. So Teen Wolf I always like viewed as like my school. Like it was like my like college, you know, of like acting. And I just really was like aware of that, I think. And I really just wanted to use my time like on that show, which also, you know, gave us all like such a range of things to be able to do. You know, it wasn't like we were just like one note all the way through, or that the show was one note all the way through it. It's so many different layers to it that there's just so much to kind of take in practice, you know.
Yeah.
And then the Maze Runner simultaneously, just because that was something that came in really early too. I was 21, you know, on that first movie, and that just taught me like a lot of like such a different medium, you know, and you know, sort of being the like the eyes of the viewer into the story, and kind of like the, I don't know, that's like a totally different speed, you know. And so yeah, I don't know, that's a quick answer. That's the quickest I can like draw it up, I think, you know. But every role should teach you something, you know. You want to like challenge yourself every time. And I mean, you know, not in this to not learn, you know. I want to be, you know, as good as what I love to do as, you know, as I can be. So.
Well, I have to say, I have some really fond memories of seeing your films. For my 18th birthday, the final Maze Runner film came out, and
Oh, really?
I went with all my friends to the theater. That was how I celebrated
No
my birthday.
way.
Yeah, so
So
I have
cool.
really fond memories of seeing your films, and like I said, it's been awesome seeing your career evolve.
Thanks. It's really, really nice of you. Thanks. I can't believe it.
Of course. And also the genres as well. With all the different characters, you've done so many different genres, but this one was so unique. So I'm curious, what was that like for you? Was it a challenge? Did you just enjoy it and want to do more of it? What was it like?
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to leave. Yeah, you know, definitely it was like such a different world and genre that I've gotten to do in the past. You know, it was just, again, like we were saying before, I mean, it was just dripping with like, I mean, it's everything you want to do this job for. Like the fact that I, you know, got to do something like this, you know, I will be grateful for like my whole career. It just like, it's exactly what you'd like want to sign up to do as an actor. And like, if you're like lucky enough to get to do something like this, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I can't believe how lucky I am, you know. Just it's amazing. And like with Mark and Johnny and Zoe, like I think like I'll never forget this one, you know. I mean, I don't think there's not many I would forget. Like they're all, I think everything I've ever done is very personal to me, and very, you know, I'm very close to, and it's very close to my heart, you know. But God, yeah, I didn't want to leave. It was so quick. At the end of the day, I think I only shot like 10 days on this movie, maybe. Like we rehearsed for like a full week beforehand. And then, yeah, I think it was only like 10 days. It was very quick. It's very quick. Yeah. So I was just like, wanted to stick around. I came back after like, you know, I stayed in London, and I would just like come to set even after I was done. And I was like, and I would watch some days, you know.
And I, like you kind of highlighted, the cast in this is just phenomenal. All of you.
Yeah.
So talented at bringing the story to life. So I'm curious, filming it must have been such a fun experience. Do you have a favorite memory when you look back? I know that's hard because there was probably a lot.
No, well, the whole thing was so great, you know. Such talented people, and just like such wonderful people too, like, you know, and such hard workers. I learned so, you know, I mean, Mark and Johnny and Zoe, like, you know, I mean, Mark's Mark, you know, he's like, he's incredible to watch. And like someone like that, obviously, like if you're ever around and able to be witness to like their process and how they approach things, it's just like amazing, because, you know, somebody who has such incredible like results consistently, is like such a like incredible performer. It's like amazing to see how they achieve that, you know. And Johnny is just like, Johnny's so smart, and he's so talented. He's like an incredible musician, you know, and he's kind of like a chameleon of an actor, and he's got his mind for stories, like so incredible, you know. So I really learned like so much from him in terms of like how he really tracks the story, and how that influences like every way that he approaches his character, you know, and the dynamics. And Zoe, I mean, Zoe is just like such a boss. She's so talented, like she's so beautiful. She looks amazing in this movie. Her face for period is like so incredible. And she's just like she's like the hardest worker I've ever been around. I don't think she's never not doing something. Like if I'm like on a movie, it's like it's all I'm doing, you know. And she's still doing like 100 other things. I don't think I've ever worked with someone who I've seen do that and still be showing up every day, like prepared, nailing it, like, and just like it's seemingly effortless for her, but it's got to take some effort. Like she works so hard and she's just like so good, you know. And they're all like such amazing like energies and truly like special people all around. So it was just collectively an amazing memory. To hone in on one specific thing, because I just kind of rambled.
Loved it.
early on before we started rehearsals, you know, Graham was saying that Mark has these games that he likes to play and that he wants to do as part of the rehearsals. And so, you know, and I don't know what to expect at all. And I'm going in just wanting to be like so prepared, you know, and I'm just like, I gotta be on it, you know, I gotta be ready for whatever. Like, what are, you know, maybe we're just gonna be like improvising as our characters all day, you know, like. So I came in, I was like so ready, so nervous, so like curious, and like Mark comes in and he pulls out a bag and he pulls out like a ball, and he's like, do you guys want to play Foursquare? Get started. And I was like, and so just cut to we're all like shoes off playing Foursquare. And I thought it was so funny. It was so fun. And it was really cool because it really like loosened everybody up, you know. It was kind of like the icebreaker. And like then when we then went into rehearsals, you kind of felt lighter, you know. So I thought that was such a cool little tool, you know, that he clearly has like, you know, used for a long time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I hope
Thank
to talk
you
to you again soon.
Thank you. Yeah. It was great talking to you. And thank you for all that you said. It was like really, really nice.
Of course.